This is the Reviewing Network Live, a weekly stream of consciousness recording session where I sit back with you folks out there, talk about some of the big news stories from the past week, and some other things I found that might be of amusement to you out there. I think you might get a kick out of it. Now, these are more like audio podcasts and are much longer than my usual videos and are also, for the most part, unedited and will contain some foul language. So, if you're easily offended by that, I advise you to maybe step back a bit, maybe go somewhere else. But hey, if you're up to the challenge, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thanks. And for the 84th time ever, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Reviewing Network Live on this Palm Sunday. The Sunday, of course, before Easter. Easter, of course, is next week, and that's really all I got for you for the intro here. I thought I had something else, but no, not really. In fact, that's probably the best way to describe this show. I thought I might have something for you, and then no, there's no big new movie news this week. Nothing that is really that significant for me to talk about in general here. Just me going like, oh, that's cool. But because there's not a whole lot of movie news this week, I figured, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do a summer movie preview update on this particular episode. Do my annual update of that. Even though, yeah, we're still about 3 weeks away from the summer movie season getting started. Since there's nothing going on this week, I figure might as well give you something here instead of just giving you the box office and that's it. But the box office this week was very, very interesting, to say the least. 5 new releases in the top 10. 4 of them made it into the top 5. I think you can figure out what the number 1 movie is, which, yeah, we got to talk about what's going on with that movie, because it's getting ridiculous now with that movie. But we'll delve into that in all good time. But with that said, let's get right to the top 5 in general. And we'll start off with the number 5 movie. Like I said, the first 4 here are new releases. So 4 of the top 5 movies are all new releases. So we can start off with this first movie we have here. And it's Blumhouse's latest film. You know, they struggled with Wolfman and The Woman in the Yard a couple weeks ago. And Drop came out this weekend. Box office-wise, it's not bad, but it's certainly nothing that's going to make anybody feel like it's a massive hit in general. But here's the thing. It made $7.5 million, and the budget on this is $11 million. So it's going to make its money back no matter what. And I guess they'll take that for what they wish. I mean, for an $11 million movie, Universal will be perfectly fine with that. Blumhouse will be perfectly fine with that. Yeah, it made its money back overall. So yeah, they're fine on that front. But actually, I heard this one was actually really good. Like, I've actually heard a lot of positive things about this one, unlike some of the other movies they've done this year, like Wolfman and Woman in the Yard, which were both not successful movies and not very good movies in general, from what I heard. But I heard this one was actually really good, so I'm definitely very curious to check this one out at some point. I probably won't get to see it in theaters, but maybe I'll get to see it when it comes out on DVD later on down the road. But hey, at least it sounds like a much better movie than the other 2 movies that Universal had this year. And so, I mean, 3 Blumhouse movies to start the year off, man. Like, 3 movies in the first 4 months of the year, and then the next big one's going to be Megan 2.0 in the summer. But we'll delve more into that in just a little bit here. But Drop did decent business overall. Nothing that's going to make anybody excited or upset that they're probably going to, or worried that they're going to lose their jobs or anything. It's going to make its money back no matter what, so they'll take that what they can get. So with that said, let's go to number 4, a movie that I did not even know was coming out until a few weeks ago, and I was really wondering how this movie was going to do. It's Warfare. Now, Warfare, for those of you who don't know, is the latest film from Alex Garland, who a year ago had Civil War come out, and Civil War was a massive hit. It actually became the most successful film A24 had ever had at that point. And so this is another film that's a co-directed film by Ray Mendoza, this is his story it's based off of, where it's based off his experiences during the Iraq War as a U.S. Navy SEAL, and it's a reenactment of an encounter he and his platoon experienced on November 19th, 2006, in the wake of the Battle of Ramada. And, yeah, the cast also includes DeFaro Wood Atai as Mendoza, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, and Joseph Quinn and Charles Melton. So there is a decent cast overall in this movie. And for a movie that really didn't have a huge marketing campaign. I think a lot of people didn't even know this movie was coming out, which I don't know why A24 would do that, considering that this is co-directed by the same guy who gave you your biggest hit as a studio last year with Civil War. But, hey, nevertheless, still did decent numbers overall. $8.3 million, which, for a $20 million budgeted film, that's actually not that bad for this movie, especially with the word of mouth this film has, because it's getting a lot of good reviews, and 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, 76 out of 100 on Metacritic, but more importantly, an A- on CinemaScore, which means it's more than likely going to have a huge a long track going forward, which could help the movie in the long run. So take that for what you will. Is overall not a bad start for this movie, especially considering that this film didn't really have the biggest marketing push, and yet people still knew when it was coming out, and people went to go see it. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to a movie that was promoted all around, the number 3 movie this week, and that is The Amateur, which was it's just the latest film from Disney and 20th Century Fox, and stars Rami Malek, and I believe his first leading role since winning the Oscar for Bohemian Rhapsody. And this is a film where he plays it's a movie about where his supervisors at the CIA refuse to take action after his wife is killed by a London terrorist attack. He's a decoder who takes matters into his own hands. And it's trying to be like, I guess, sort of the equivalent to The Accountant, which I feel like I need to watch that movie again, man, because The Accountant 2 is coming out. It's supposedly going to be a big hit, but it doesn't look like what I remember from the original The Accountant movie. I got to watch that one again, but this one has not been getting the best reviews overall. I think it's got like a mixed reception on Rotten Tomatoes, like it's about 61%, which is and 51 out of 100 on Metacritic, and a B+ on CinemaScore, which probably means that this movie is not going to have a ton of traction going forward, which is not good for the $60 million budget the film has, but it's already, if you include worldwide numbers, it's halfway to that point at $32 million, so it might be enough to make its money back. I don't think it's going to be profitable in any way, shape, or form. I think the biggest problem this movie really had was the fact that it doesn't feel like a movie that should be seen in a theater. Like, this feels like a movie that should have been straight to Hulu. Like, I'm starting to figure out what the major problem is with a lot of these movies that are coming out. I think the studios are having a hard time distancing, movies that are intended to go to streaming or straight to DVD, or the movies that are intended to go to theaters. Like, this one does not feel like it should have gone to theaters. Like, so, I mean, yeah, you got two Oscar contenders in here: Oscar winner Rami Malek and Oscar nominee Lawrence Fishburne among the cast. Rachel Brosnan's coming out as Superman a couple months from now, but there was just nothing about this movie that made it stand out in any way, shape, or form. And I think that really hurt the film in general in terms of its box office success. I don't think really nobody was really giving a crap about this movie. And I don't know, it just feels like a movie that probably shouldn't have gone to theaters. This should have probably been a Hulu release, judging by what I see so far. But, hey, I'm not making decisions at Disney right now. So what do I need? So what am I supposed to tell you? I can tell you that the number 2 movie is probably the most successful movie of the entire weekend, and considering we've got Easter next week, it's really hard not to see why. It's the animated feature, The King of Kings, which is the first feature-length theatrical animated release by Angel Studios, the company behind The Sound of Freedom and The Chosen movies. The Chosen, by the way, was that Last Supper Part 3 made it at number 6 this weekend, but The King of Kings was, this is a story where you follow Charles Dickens, a young author who narrates the biography of Jesus Christ. Together, he and his son Walter embark on an adventure as the master storyteller engages the boy's vivid imagination. Big cast of the movie. You got Kenneth Branagh as Charles Dickens, Uma Thurman as his wife Catherine, Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan, Oscar Isaac as Jesus Christ, Ben Kingsley, Forrest Whitaker. So they did pack some stars into this movie. I mean, it does not look like a cheap movie in general, and it does not say on Wikipedia what the budget on this movie is, but the film made over $19 million, and a lot of that was coming in from pre-sales beforehand, which I think was up to $14 million in pre-sales heading into release. So they did a pretty good job building the buzz up on this movie, and the film didn't get bad reviews in general. A 64% is nothing to really be excited about, but I mean, it is what it is for a kids movie, and it's got an A+ CinemaScore, and I think it'll do very well, especially going into next weekend. Where it might go from there might be too soon to tell, but this will probably do very well overall, especially considering we don't have a big animated feature film for the kids to go and see. But, I mean, it doesn't look like it's a bad movie overall. Which is more than I could say about the number 1 movie again, and that is, of course, a Minecraft movie. which brought in another $80 million this weekend, only dropping 50% from the previous week to $280.9 million after 2 weeks. Film cost $150 million to make, so it's instant profit from this point going forward. $550 million worldwide. Yeah. So the film that I thought nobody really gave a crap about because Minecraft wasn't that popular anymore, turns out that I was wrong on that front. But not only that, let's end the conversation with the box office here and just talk about the problem with the Minecraft movie as a whole. Not just because the movie itself is a complete steaming pile of garbage. That's the worst movie I've seen so far this year. But that'd be bad enough. But no. We need to talk about the stupidity that is going on at these movie theaters, and just the fact that nobody is taking accountability for this at all. I just don't get why we are trying to destroy the theater-going movie experience, man. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I mean, a couple weeks ago, I saw a picture online of I guess somebody took a picture inside of their movie theater, and in this particular movie theater, you've got the seats, you've got the theater screens, but on top of that, right on the corner, there's a freaking play area for the kids. Like, it's not guarded off or anything, it's literally a place where you're sitting in there watching a movie, and then all of a sudden to the right, there's an entire play area sitting there, and it's just like, I don't get it, man. Like, I get, okay, maybe it's just a kid-friendly movie theater experience, but, like, you couldn't just you can't just find a way to, like, I don't know, barricade that area, like, put some glass so the people the kids that don't want to go into the play area can just sit and watch the movie. It's just like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we trying to ruin the theater-going experience as a whole? Like, this is getting ridiculous on that front. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the stupidity of what's going on at the Minecraft movie. Because you might have heard about this. You might have seen the videos online about this. But, so what people are doing is that they're not just going to see a Minecraft movie just to enjoy a Minecraft movie. Which, quite frankly, I don't know who would, but no, this movie, I've got it right here on Wikipedia, because there's already a Wikipedia description about what I'm about to talk about here. It says, the film has sparked boisterous reactions and disorderly conduct from some viewers, particularly American and British adolescent boys, partaking in a viral internet phenomenon on TikTok. It makes sense. The movie that's clearly made for TikTok pranksters who think they're great celebrities and all that, of course it's going to start, of course they're the ones behind this. But participants would often react enthusiastically to moments in the films that have been the subject of internet memes, such as when Black's character exclaims, "Chicken jockey," spontaneously erupting into loud cheers, jumping in excitement, dancing, or throwing popcorn. And let me just tell you something right now. Before I got the job that I was at right now, and I've been at for 20 years, I put in a job description, went to a job interview for working at a movie theater, being one of the patrons at the movie theater. And I didn't get the job, and I was a little bit disappointed by that, especially since I love movies in general. But let me tell you something. If I had gotten that job and I'd be still doing it today, having to know that I have to deal with these motherfuckers, I probably would have quit almost immediately after that. Like, why do you have to make those people's jobs much harder than it has to be by throwing popcorn all over the place and just making them and just doing all this? Like, why would you do that? Like, what fun is it for you and for the viewers everywhere else? Like, what is it like? But, somebody out there is going to be like, hey, man, let kids be kids. It's just like, no. You can let kids be kids when they're doing simple things like riding their bikes or skateboards in public places. When, you see videos online of old people telling them, hey, you kids, you can't do that. This is private property. It's just like, no, it's not. Like, that stuff I can understand. But here, you're in a movie theater. You're in a place where you know that it's going to take a long time for those people to clean this mess up that you put in there. But other viral lines include Flint and Steel and I Am Steve, though neither approach the frenzy surrounding Chicken Jockey. This is the kicker right here. In one viral video, audience members hoisted a live chicken during a screening and were forced to leave the theater. The stunt was criticized online due to animal cruelty concerns. Somebody snuck in a fucking live chicken during this movie. And all I can think to myself is, why? And how did you do that? Like, okay, I know that theater patrons don't really take the time to really look at people and like throw their and like to make sure that people aren't sneaking stuff in here that they shouldn't do. But how do you sneak a chicken into a movie theater? And I've got it right here. I've got the video right here. Let me go ahead and see if I can find it right here. All right, I got it queued up right here. So you can only see the audio here, but you can find it on YouTube easily. Actual chicken in theater for chicken jockey steam. Like, before he even says the line, you can see people just like dancing at the top of their dancing like they're having a conniption. It's just like nothing has even happened yet. Like, what are you doing? Like you see a guy in a white suit who's just like, I'm so excited, Just like, why? It's like, and look, if they're autistic, autistic or they have something wrong with them, then I'm willing to cut some slack here. But this guy does not look like he's autistic in any way, shape, or form. He just looks like he's getting ready to do the funniest shit ever. And no, this isn't. Like, you see this, they're just throwing popcorn all over the place, and it's just like, why? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Let me see if I can get to the chicken part. Yeah, some dude literally brought a chicken into the movie theater, and all I can think to myself is, like, how did you sneak that in there? Like, it just... Why did you sneak it in there? And the guy is like on top, and the guy's like being held by somebody else, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous and stupid. Like, none of this makes any sense whatsoever, and it ruins the theater-going experience as a whole. Like, this isn't something that you do in a movie theater. And then they turn the lights on, and because they knew that this was going to happen. And they actually called the police on this dude. Like, the police actually had to come and arrest these people for doing that. And as we go back to the Wikipedia article, reactions to the phenomenon have been mixed. Some audience members frown upon the misconduct as annoying and disruptive, while several theater chains post warnings against unruly behavior. Police have also reportedly been called to restore order and eject offenders, including an instance where an employee was physically harmed, although no charges were filed. Writing for The Observer, Kate Maltby is opened. This is a weird way to say it, but says that audiences have crossed the line, pointing to the mess left for janitors to clean up. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is what... Like, there's no excuse for this, and it would be... Like, you don't go into... When I went to see Avengers Endgame, and everyone cheered whenever everybody came back after the snap was reversed, like you saw everybody on screen... There was cheering going on, but nobody was throwing their popcorn. Nobody was throwing fits. Nobody brought live chickens into a movie theater for that. When the Spider-Man met in No Way Home, nobody did anything crazy except for cheer and got excited when you should, because yeah, holy crap, it's all three Spider-Man in the same movie. That's awesome. And this, however. This is inexcusable. This is just absolutely inexcusable on so many means. But you know what? Maybe the people who are behind the movie can come out and basically say, "Hey guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate your love and support of the movie. We really appreciate everything that you do. But be courteous to everybody else, will ya?" Of course they didn't do it. In fact, they did the one thing that you shouldn't do, and that's egg them on even more. Like, I have an article right here from director Jared Hess, who, and I'm going to explain why I think he's more than okay with this in just a second here. In fact, the first sentence here can literally tell you everything you need to know about why he's okay with this. It says here, this is from Forbes, Jared Hess has come a long way from directing Napoleon Dynamite back in 2004, 21 years later, now behind what may end up being the most profitable video game movie ever made in the form of a Minecraft movie, as well as making $1 billion at the box office. Minecraft's young fans are loving the meme-filled movie, but most would say a little too much as chaos now reigns in theaters as this younger crowd is seemingly trying to top the insanity of other screenings they've seen on TikTok. Again, TikTok. Director Jared Hess knows about this and seems unconcerned. It's weird when you're having too much fun and the cops get called. It's funny because I think it's just literally cheering and throwing popcorn, which is so funny to me that the cops are getting called for popcorn. Yeah, it's hilarious. I've seen so many funny videos. It's great, especially when people are climbing on their friends' shoulders and standing up and cheering for those moments. It's like this crazy anticipation, but man, I'm just glad people are making memories with their friends and families. No, it's not just getting called for popcorn, Jared. And, by the way, what have you done since 2006? Exactly my point. Jared Hess has not made a decent a movie that is memorable since Nacho Libre. And before that, Napoleon Dynamite, and Nacho Libre. What has he done between 2006 and now that you remember? See, I bet you can't even think about it. Like, surely you remember stuff like, Gentlemen Broncos, that terrible
comedy that just didn't work because of the fact that it was just him doing Napoleon Dynamite all over again. Gentlemen is, Don Verdine, you remember that one? Masterminds, you remember that one? Okay, I'll give him Thelma and the Unicorn, but even then, the general public doesn't remember that movie. That came out on Netflix last year, and it's actually a good movie, but again, nobody remembers that movie. The last movie that this guy did that anyone remembered was Nacho Libre. So yeah, no shit he's gonna take this and be like, hey, do whatever you want. You're making me notable again. It's just like, is that really what you want to be known for? The movie that literally causes people to lose faith in the theater-going movie experience? I mean, what about Jack Black? I mean, surely Jack Black has got something to say about this, right?
Jack Black has reacted to the viral chicken jockey scene in Minecraft that's causing chaos in cinemas. The Minecraft movie is doing huge numbers at the box office, but it's also turning cinemas into full-blown chaos zones. Ever since the film hit theaters, the energy has been absolutely unhinged. Starring Jack and Jason Momoa, it opened to massive success, pulling in around $109 million in the US and over $78 million overseas. But while the cash is rolling in, the actual cinema experience is questionable. Yeah, not everyone's loving it. One scene in particular has lit the internet on fire. During a moment where Jack's character yells, "Chicken Jockey," in a Minecraft-style boxing match, the whole vibe flips. The scene's gone mega viral, with fans chanting it at screenings, tossing popcorn, and filming the madness for TikTok. Some crowds are even standing up and joining in like it's a concert. But things are getting out of hand. In one cinema, officials had to show up just to calm everyone down. In the UK, a cinema put out an official warning telling people to cut it out, and said anyone causing trouble will be kicked out, no hesitation. Cinema workers are speaking up too. A bunch of them have posted online, asking fans to chill. One even called the whole weekend a living nightmare, with drinks getting thrown and people yelling so loud that no one could hear the movie. Even though some fans are loving the party vibe and treating it like a full event, others are saying it's ruining the whole point of going to the movies. A few people even left early because they couldn't deal with the chaos anymore. And now, Jack Black has reacted to the viral chicken jockey scene in Minecraft that's causing chaos in cinemas. Underneath a clip of it, Jack left a comment. In his comment, he wrote, "Minecraft fans are amazing. You
see why people don't like Jack Black anymore? Like really? You're really gonna do this? You're really gonna egg these people on to keep going with this? I mean, and I get it. They're kids. Kids are supposed to have fun, but these are not kids that are doing this. This is people on TikTok just doing it for the clicks and the likes and the clout. That's literally, I literally said when I reviewed this movie that this movie was made for TikTok influencers and for people who think TikTok pranksters are the most amazing things ever when they're not. That's what this movie is made for, and the fact that everybody is going out there, and even the people who are behind the movie, who should tell people to settle down, just proves how freaking childish everybody involved in this is. And they make comparisons to, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which, okay, yeah, but at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, they're not throwing chickens at the screen and acting like freaking animals. And you can make the claim that it's like the Gentle Minions thing, but you know what? At Minions: The Rise of Gru, they weren't throwing chickens at anybody. They weren't throwing popcorn all over the place. And at least then, that was fun, like seeing all the people walking around in tuxedos and all that type of stuff. Like, I got that, but This is not any of that. This is just people acting stupid for the sake of acting stupid, and it really just feels like it feels like kind of a conspiracy for people to just never go to the movies ever again. Like, you should not be afraid to go to the movies because of something like this. And the problem with this is that the people who made this movie aren't coming in there and saying, hey guys, knock it off. They're just like, no, keep it going because look at all this attention we're getting. It's just like, that's all this is really about. Attention. Getting the attention that you want from this because, yeah, you were involved in this, and who cares what anybody else has to do with it? Who cares what has to happen when there's a freaking chicken, when there's a guy holding a freaking chicken for no particular reason? Like, I can't get over that. Like, how do you sneak a chicken into a movie theater and nobody fucking notices? When I went to see this last week, I was lucky enough to just see a normal screening. Nobody got crazy. Nobody went through popcorn anywhere. There certainly was no live chickens. But I should have considered myself lucky because apparently in the week since then, I found out that the movie theater I go to, people are acting crazy in there, supposedly ripping the seats out of the movie theater. And just I don't get it, man. I don't get it with this. Like, why this movie? Why this film in particular do we have to act like freaking animals? Like, this isn't even fun. This is not fun for anybody. Like, it's just not fun. It's not fun having to sit through this movie. It's not fun having to watch all these other people being tortured while they're trying to watch the movie. It's not fun watching these people that think they're doing this because they're so damn important and just trying to get clout for social media. It's just like, there's nothing fun about this whatsoever. And I hope that the studios are looking at this and and the theater people speak up and say, "Hey, you can't let them keep doing this. You've got to have somebody come out and say something about this." And not in the way that Jared Hess and Jack Black are basically saying, "No, keep doing this. Keep egging them on." Like, no, don't egg them on. Control the shit. Act like a proper parent. Act like a parent would to their kid. Don't be one of those parents that has kids because they didn't stick the condom on when they were banging, and so now you're stuck with this, and you gotta suffer because of it. No, be a parent, be an adult, and tell people to knock the shit off. And of course, watch it's not gonna happen now. In fact, here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. I think somebody is trying to figure out a way to fix this, because I just saw today that Regal Cinemas is doing a Minecraft Chicken Jockey special event. I think on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here it is right here. So, Regal Cinemas is doing a thing on April 20th, which is next Sunday. It's called the Chicken Jockey event, where live up. And here's the description right here: level up your experience of a Minecraft movie with our Chicken Jockey screenings exclusively in 4DX. The special one-day event will be taking place on Sunday, April 20th. Customers are invited to dress up as their favorite Minecraft characters, whoop, yelp, and clap and shout Chicken Jockey. There are some rules we don't break, so here's the deal. Build excitement, absolutely. LOL with friends till you're rolling in the aisles. Totally, but please don't go full creeper in the auditorium. Which, I mean, it's a one-time thing, but I'm glad to see that at least one movie theater is basically saying, alright, you want to do this? Fine. We'll give you this one-day thing where you can come in and do whatever you want, but then don't do this at a regular screening for it. It's just like it says right here in this article here from The Gamer, that last part is particularly noteworthy as part of what made Chicken Jockey a viral sensation in the manner in which moviegoers have behaved includes throwing popcorn, filming, and causing all sorts of noise. Asking people not to go full creeper for a feed night based around people doing exactly just like that sounds like a recipe for disaster. Godspeed movie theater employees, which they're right on that front, but the fact that they're coming out and saying, hey, we're going to give you this opportunity to do it, again, I feel so bad for the movie theater patrons or the people that work in the movie theater that have to go through this. And, I mean, I just hope this is a trend that just goes away and does not become the norm. Because the movie theater going experience should not be taken away because of this stupid movie here. That's not even a good movie to begin with. I just don't understand why we're getting behind this movie. There's been so many other better movies out there, not just for the adults, but for kids too. Where was this audience when the Looney Tunes movie came out? Why did we put the money from this movie made into that? Like, it just makes no sense whatsoever. And like I said, hopefully this is a trend that's going to it's going to be a trend. It'll go away, and hopefully movie theaters will put things in place, to basically say that, hey, don't do this again, or we're going to throw you out. Like they should be calling the police on these people. They should be throwing them out. Like, people aren't going into the movie theaters to watch you act like animals. They're there to watch a friggin' movie. Like, if you want to have your own special event out in the park somewhere where you can watch this movie and then throw whatever you want at the screen, it's just like, do that. But just don't ruin the movie-going experience with this. This is so fucking stupid, and I hate every single moment of it, and I will be so glad when this movie is out of theaters so we can get back to some normalcy in this goddamn world. There's never going to be any normalcy left in this goddamn world, so what am I supposed to say about that? So anyway, after my 20-minute rant there, let's go ahead and get to the main feature attraction of this show. So after that nice 20-minute rant I just went on, let's get to some fun stuff here. Hopefully some movies that will make us completely forget about the Minecraft movie, or at least will make me wish I can forget the Minecraft movie. The summer movie season, it's almost here, and it's just a couple weeks away, and needless to say, there doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of big movies this time around. I mean, there are some big films in general, but May in particular seems kind of a little underwhelming compared to last May, where we got stuff like The Fall Guy and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Furiosa Mad Max Saga, the Garfield movie. Movies that I really liked a lot, even though most of them did not perform well at the box office, which was a shame because some of those movies were actually pretty awesome. But the box office in general... I forgot to mention If's one of my favorite movies from last year. That came out in May. But this year, however, it doesn't seem like there are some good movies here, and movies I'm looking forward to checking out per se. And I don't know if they're good yet, but there are movies that I'm really excited for coming up here. But before we get to those, let's go ahead and take a look at how the summer 2025 movie season will begin. And it will begin on all things on Thursday, May 1st, because on Prime Video we're going to have the sequel to one of my favorite movies from 2018, Another Simple Favor, which has Blake Lively back along with Anna Kendrick as a murder transpires at Emily's extravagant wedding to an Italian businessman on the island of Capri, Italy. A lot of the same people behind the original Simple Favor. Paul Fahey is back to direct. Of course, Kendrick and Lively are back in this one here. It premiered at South by Southwest and actually supposedly got a lot of really good reviews in general. I think on Rotten Tomatoes right now it's got an 81% on there. 57 out of 100 on Metacritic, and comes out on May 1st exclusively on Prime Video, and it's one I'm definitely looking forward to, especially since Simple Favor was actually my third favorite movie of 2018 when that came out, so definitely looking forward to checking that one out. But then for most people, the summer movie season, of course, gets started with Thunderbolts opening on May 2nd. This is the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and features a group of anti-heroes caught in a deadly trap by Julia Louis-Dreyfus' Valentina Allegra de Fontaine and are forced into a dangerous mission that could bring them redemption if they unite as a team. So it's kind of like Suicide Squad in a way, but you have Yelena and Alexia from Black Widow returning, Florence Pugh and David Harbour. Bucky Barnes is back with Sebastian Stan, who's now if I believe it correctly, he's a member of the U.S. Congress, so that's kind of interesting. Wyatt Russell, of course, the former Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as John Walker. Olga Kurylenko as Taskmaster, also from Black Widow. Louis Pullman as the Void. Geraldine Viswanathan as Mel, Val's assistant. Hannah John Kamen as Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I think Harrison Ford's coming back in this one too, as are Lawrence Fishburne and Rachel Weisz. And I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I really think the marketing campaign behind this movie has been really all over the place. Like, I can't really get a grasp of what they're trying to sell the movie as. Like, are they trying to sell it as an action movie? Are they trying to sell it as a comedy? Are they trying to sell it for the independent audience? There's a trailer out there where it's literally them basically saying, like, A24 people worked on this movie. They have, like, people from the people behind Euphoria, from the people who behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. Here's the stars from those movies, like that type of thing. It's just like, it's really odd advertising, and it really makes me wonder if Marvel knows exactly what the hell they're trying to sell this movie as. And I don't know which direction they're going with it here. I'm hoping the movie turns out to be good, but I still have my doubts and skepticisms about that one. In terms of other movies coming out on May 2nd, one new release comes out that will spark some very interesting comments from people, and that is Rust. Yes, the movie where Alec Baldwin was notorious for shooting was accidentally killing a cinematographer with a gun that, like, they didn't know that there was actually a bullet inside of there. It's finally coming out. The movie is finished, and so we finally will get to see it on May 2nd of 2025, and it'll be very interesting to see how that one does, if it will actually get a legitimate theatrical release in general, or will just be pushed off to limited. But considering the company is called Falling Forward Films, a company that I have no recollection of who they are, and they don't even have a page on Wikipedia, it probably means that this film is probably going to get pushed off to the side in general, so take that for what you will. But I'm kind of curious to see if it actually was what the film is actually worth it in the end. But other than that, though, the second week after May, not really a whole lot of interesting things coming out. We have Shadow Force, the latest Joe Carnahan movie with Kerry Washington and Omar Sy, which looks pretty bland and pretty generic overall. It just feels like a movie they kind of dumped out there to compete with Thunderbolts. I don't think that's going to do very well. Nothing else of significance on May 9th. And May 16th, we have a couple of interesting movies, including Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th installment of the Final Destination series, which the Final Destination movies are fun films in general, mostly because we want to see the crazy ways that people get killed off. And sure enough, a movie like the Final Destination movies are pretty primed for that. Plus, it'll be very interesting to see how this one pans out, as you have the story here that a college student experiencing a recurring nightmare that foretells her family's demise returns home to find the person who can prevent it. And, of course, this will be the last time we'll see Tony Todd in this. This is the film he made before he died. And I'm looking forward to it. I think the Final Destination movies are fun films in general. And this one, it may not be anything spectacular story-wise, but the kills are probably what's going to make it worth it in the end for me. So, and then another movie I'm kind of curious about, and I think a lot of people are really curious about, is Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is the Weeknd's movie based off of his newest album, where he stars as a fictionalized version of himself, an insomniac musician on the verge of a mental breakdown who is pulled into an existential odyssey by a mysterious stranger, played by Jenna Ortega, and also features Barry Keoghan and Metro Boomin. And needless to say, the Weeknd's TV show, The Idol, was not the best success overall. In fact, it was actually kind of bad. But this one could really go one of two ways. It could be either a stylistic, cool-looking movie that really is really ahead of its time, or it could be one of the most pretentious pieces of garbage you'll ever see. It could be really one way or the other. This director is not the best director overall. Although he did make It Comes at Night, he's also made stuff like Krisha and Waves, which I don't think left much of a lasting impact in general. So this is one that definitely can go one of two ways, and hopefully it'll be a way where it actually makes the film somewhat entertaining, but it's definitely something I think we're all going to be curious to check out when that comes out. So then we get the biggest weekend of the entire month, and that's Memorial Day weekend, where we have not one, but two big blockbusters opening up on that weekend. And of course they are Lilo and Stitch, which is the live action adaptation of the classic Disney movie. I don't think I really need to tell you what the plot of the movie is, but then you have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is the last film, which is being billed as the final film of the Mission Impossible series, in which we get the wrap-up from Dead Reckoning Part 1. Oh, I'm sorry, Dead Reckoning, because Part 2 no longer exists anymore, and I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's funny that Tom Cruise and Lilo and Stitch are opening up on the same weekend, because 23 years ago, in the summer of 2002, it was the same situation. Tom Cruise starred in Minority Report, the Steven Spielberg movie, and on that same weekend came Lilo and Stitch, the original Lilo and Stitch. And, of course, Minority Report beat that movie out at the box office, so I would not be shocked at all if Lilo and Stitch ends up making more than Mission Impossible this time around. I think the buzz on Lilo and Stitch is much better than I think most people let on. They've done a great job of, the marketing campaign has done a fantastic job of really keeping everything in secrecy. They haven't shown a lot of the other aliens yet, even though they showed some in the trailer, and they didn't look too bad in general. And they put the focus mostly on Stitch. Stitch overall has been the main focus of the campaign, and it has worked out wonders for them. It's been looking very cool. Stitch looks amazing in live action, and I think this movie is going to do gangbuster business. In fact, Deadline Hollywood reported that the film could potentially make $100 million, while Mission Impossible could end up making $60 million in general. And that kind of makes sense, because Dead Reckoning didn't really leave much of a lasting impact for people like me, and it was not a big hit in general. It actually underperformed mostly because the idiots at Paramount opened it the weekend before Barbie. Like, what the hell were you thinking on that front? But I mean, like I said, I think Lilo and Stitch will probably be... I would not be shocked at all if Lilo and Stitch does better than Mission Impossible this time around. I think the buzz on Lilo and Stitch is so high right now, and I would not be shocked at all if this hits $100 million. So, and it beats out Mission Impossible, which Mission Impossible still do pretty well regardless, so... And then May wraps up with a couple movies I'm kind of curious about. The Karate Kid Legends, the one that features Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, and essentially it looks like a crossover between the 2010 Karate Kid and the Cobra Kai TV series. The plot seems very similar to the original series in general, but it is cool to see, Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio together in one movie, kind of bringing what they've learned from people like Mr. Miyagi and what Jackie Chan gave to Jaden Smith's character overall. See if they can do it with this young kid in general, and it could be really interesting to see what they do with this one here. I'm kind of curious to see where the direction of this film goes. The trailers have looked pretty good, so I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I've liked most of the Karate Kid movies, except of course for Part 3 and then the Hilary Swank one, but then again, those ones were not that great to begin with. But then the other one I'm really excited about, which I just saw the trailer for it this week, Wes Anderson's latest film, The Phoenician Scheme, which stars Benicio del Toro as wealthy businessman Zsa Zsa Corda, appointing his only daughter, a nun, played by Mia Therapleton, Threapleton. I think I'm pronouncing that right. A nun as sole heir to the estate. As Corda embarks on a news enterprise, they soon become targets of scheming tycoons, foreign terrorists, and determined assassins. And of course, you've got the regulars in here. A lot of names in this one in particular. Michael Cera channeling his inner Gary Oldman. Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Richard Ayoade, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rupert Friend, Hope Davis, Bill Murray, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Willem Dafoe. And it just looks like a fun movie, man. I was laughing so hard at the trailer for this movie, more than I have at a Wes Anderson movie in a long, long time. And I love Wes Anderson movies. I love a lot of his movies. There's not one of his movies that I hated, and each one I've really enjoyed. Even his lesser films, like Asteroid City, I like that one a lot, but this movie looks absolutely hilarious. I can't wait to check this one out. It comes out on May 30th. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. So that's the movies of May. Moving on to June, and the big release to kick off the month of June is the latest film from the John Wick series. Okay, technically it's a spin-off between Chapters 3 and Chapter 4. It's literally called From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Ballerina, of course, is the film that features Ana de Armas as Eve Macaro, and the story takes place between the events of Chapter 3 and 4, where you have a ballerina assassin beginning to train in the assassin traditions of the Roskuruma, and sets out to exact revenge for her father's death. And so this is a film that's directed by Len Wiseman and written by Shay Hayton. And this is a movie that the John Wick movies in general got better and better with every film. It seems like they're marketing this as another John Wick movie because Keanu Reeves is in the movie. He's literally in the trailer for it. I think that's that might be a problem with the film in general by putting more of him in there, thinking that he's going to have more of a bigger presence in this, but who knows? Maybe that's exactly what they need to do to get this movie on the afloat. But either way, I'm still looking forward to checking it out, man. I've liked Ana de Armas for a number of years. It's got a good cast: Angelica Houston, Gabriel Byrne, the final screen appearance of Lance Reddick and Ian McShane. Norman Reedus is in here, and hopefully this is the start of a new series of films that they could do. Even though they are doing another John Wick movie after this. John Wick 5 is apparently going to happen, even though they basically killed the character off the last time around, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, we're thinking he's going to be back sooner rather than later. So, but hey, what do I know? But John Wick Chapter 5 from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Also opening on the same day, exclusively on Hulu, was a movie that just came out with a trailer this week, Predator: Killer of Killers, which is an adult animated science fiction anthology film directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did Prey, and who's working on the next Predator movie coming out in the fall, Predator: Badlands. And the film follows three of the fiercest warriors in human history: a Viking raider guarding his young son on a bloody quest for revenge, a ninja in feudal Japan who turns against his samurai brother in a brutal battle for succession, and a World War II pilot who takes to the sky to investigate an otherworldly threat to the Allied cause. But while all these warriors were killed in their own right, they are merely prey for their new opponent, the ultimate killer of killers. And the trailer for this looked pretty cool. I mean, I'm really excited to see what they do with this. This is that secret film that they were working on that Dan Trachtenberg talked about last year, and I mean, the trailer for it looked pretty good, so I'm really excited to see what they do with this. It's going to stream exclusively on Hulu on June 6th, so I'm looking forward to that one. Then we have The Life of Chuck, which is based off of a Stephen King novel and stars Tom Hiddleston in the title role of Chuck. And this is written and directed by Mike Flanagan, which, I mean, that's enough there to make you want to see the movie alone. Mike Flanagan very rarely misses a filmmaker, and this one looks like it could be very interesting all around. You have a life-affirming, genre-bending story based on Stephen King's novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. The cast also includes Chiwetel Ejiofor, Annalise Basso, Jacob Tremblay, Karen Gillan, Mark Hamill, Mia Sara, Matthew Lillard, Carla Lumbly, Nick Offerman, DeCurion Kilcher, David Dastmalchian, Heather Langenkamp, Molly C. Quinn, Michael Trucco, Lauren Lavera. So there is a lot of good talent in this movie in general. And I'm really curious to see how this one pans out. It looks like a very interesting film, to say the least. So, which brings us then to June 13th, and the big new release that everyone will be talking about is How to Train Your Dragon. The live-action remake of DreamWorks' animated classic, and yeah. So DreamWorks has now officially taken the Disney route, apparently, of remaking their live-action movies. But DreamWorks here's the thing with DreamWorks, what they're doing. What DreamWorks is doing is more, how do I put this? It's more blatant than what Disney does with their live-action movies. At least Disney promises you that there's going to be some differences compared to the original movies. But Universal's just like, nope, we're just remaking the original movie, and we're so confident of it, we're already greenlighting a sequel that's coming out in 2027. So we can look forward to that one being a sequel to How to Train Your Dragon, the remake of How to Train Your Dragon 2. And I'm guaranteeing you maybe How to Train Your Dragon 3 will be a remake of The Hidden World in 2029. Fuck it, might as well go with that. And I know that at CinemaCon they showed the movie off and apparently got rave reviews from the people that saw it, which, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get excited for this because I just know that this thing looks like it's going to be just another rip-off of a far superior animated movie. Yeah, Toothless looks pretty good in live action in CG, but at the same time, it's not helping the movie when you're literally selling it as literally a copy and paste of the original movie. It's literally a shot-for-shot remake of the original film. And, I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't know if it's going to be as successful, but apparently studios are backing down from it because Disney had a movie that was supposed to come out that weekend. It's going to start off the next weekend on June 20th, and that's Disney and Pixar's Elio, which is a film that was in development for several years. It was supposed to come out in the summer of 2024, but got pushed back with the writer's strike of 2023. And the premise is that you have a misadventure introducing the title character who's a space fanatic with an active imagination and a huge alien obsession. So when he's beamed up to the Commuverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from galaxies far and wide, Elio's all in for the epic undertaking. Mistakenly identified as Earth's Leto, Elio must form new bonds with eccentric alien life forms, navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions, and somehow discover who and where he is truly meant to be. Now, Pixar's original movies have not been the biggest successes since the pandemic got started again, but it doesn't help when your first 3 movies back are immediately sent to Disney Plus, and then you realize how badly you screwed up on that, so you put them back in theaters, and nobody wants to go and see them because they've already seen those movies. And they were great movies. Soul was great. Look was really good. Turning Red was great. And so now you have Elemental, which came out a couple years ago, was a really good movie that nobody went to go see. And then Inside Out 2 was the big success overall. So I'm optimistic about this movie in general. It's got a good cast that includes Zoe Saldana, Jamel from The Good Place, Brad Garrett, Shirley Henderson. The animation looks really cool and all. The story really looks like stuff we've seen done before, but this is Pixar's bread and butter, man. Usually they can take a story we've seen done to death before and make it work more times than not. So I'm still looking forward to checking it out. I hope it does really well. I hope Pixar gets back on track with this. But then next up you have 28 Years Later, which is the long-awaited sequel with Danny Boyle returning, and continuation of the 28 Days Later series that began with 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. And so 28 years have passed after the rage virus escaped a medical research laboratory. Survivors have found ways to exist among the infected. One group lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When the father and his son leave the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, they discover secrets, wonders, and horrors of the outside world. You have a cast that includes Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, maybe Cillian Murphy. Even though he's one of the producers on here, they're still keeping it secret whether or not he's going to be in this movie or not. But of course, this is the first part of a 2-part sequel, where the second film is already set to come out in January next year, directed by Nia DaCosta, the one that's called 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. So we'll see how that one pans out. But I'm looking forward to it. I've liked the other 28 movies in general. I love 28 Days Later. 28 Weeks Later, it's fine for what it is, but it's definitely a sequel that's not as good as the original film. So, but either way, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I'm hoping it's turning out to be very good. And then we get to June 27th, where the 2 big new releases coming out include F1, which is the Joseph Kosinski's follow-up to Top Gun Maverick, and stars Brad Pitt in it. This is also an Apple co-production, where Brad Pitt stars as Sonny Hayes, a Formula 1 driver who raced in the 1990s, has a horrible crash that forces him to retire from Formula 1, and starts racing in other disciplines. A Formula 1 team owner and friend, Ruben, played by Javier Bardem, contacts Hayes and asks him to come out of retirement to mentor a rookie protege, played by Damson Idris from Snowfall, for the Apex Grand Prix team. Cast also includes Kerry Condon, Shea Wingham, Samson Kayo, and also features a bunch of Formula 1 team members. And like I said, it's an Apple production, so their films have been more missed than hit. But it's also a Jerry Bruckheimer production too, and Joseph Kosinski's coming off of Top Gun Maverick, which could mean that this is equivalent to Days of Thunder, which Days of Thunder was not that great of a movie in my opinion. But I mean, this could be interesting overall. I'm cautiously optimistic about it, so hopefully it turns out to be a good movie. But then also opening on June 27th is the aforementioned Megan 2.0, which is basically setting itself up more like a comedy this time around, where 2 years after the events of Megan, Gemma has become an author and an advocate for regulation of artificial intelligence, while trapping a still active Megan in a small robotic doll that cannot do any harm. However, Megan's technology has been stolen and used by a defensive contractor to create a military robot called Amelia, who becomes self-aware, turns on her creators, and attempts an AI takeover. Facing imminent destruction, Gemma's niece Katie convinces her to rebuild Megan with advanced upgrades so she can find Amelia. And yeah, the trailer looks about as ridiculous as you can get. I mean, it's going to be hard to top what the first film did in terms of its stupid ridiculousness, but it feels like they're in on the get joke right now, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could be go either way. It's got a lot of the same people involved in it, so I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be fun overall. It looks like a fun trailer regardless, so that's what I'm kind of looking forward to there. So those are the movies of June. Continuing on with the month of July, 4th of July weekend kicks off with a new Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the latest, I guess, reboot or standalone sequel they're describing it to Jurassic World Dominion. And it has 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, Earth's environment has largely proven inhospitable to dinosaurs. The surviving creatures now reside in remote tropical locales reminiscent of the environments where they once flourished. Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson, is a covert operative recruited by a pharmaceutical company to collaborate with paleontologist Dr. Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey, and team leader Duncan Kincaid, played by Mahershala Ali, on a top-secret mission. Their objective is to infiltrate a forbidden island once the site of the original research facility for Jurassic Park and locate the 3 largest remaining prehistoric species from land, sea, and air. The DNA of the creatures holds the key to a revolutionary drug capable of saving countless human lives. Along the way, the team encounters a civilian family, because of course they do. I mean, what Jurassic Park movie wouldn't there be if there wasn't a freaking family with kids involved? I mean, honestly. And both groups find themselves stranded. They discover the island is home to mutated, failed dinosaur experiments that have thrived in isolation for decades. And yeah, that part right there about the families and all that, that's something that you can easily make fun of with these movies in general. Just like, why is there always got to be a family in these Jurassic Park movies? I mean, it worked for the first movie, but every single movie they have to get kids involved in the danger. It's just like, just why? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever, But anyway, this is directed by Gareth Edwards, who previously worked on such monster movies as Monsters, as well as Godzilla, and he's also done Rogue One and The Creator, so this is a good director, and more importantly, it's bringing back David Coep, who wrote the first Jurassic Park movie back in 1993. He also did Lost World Jurassic Park, which we don't talk about that one. But yeah, this is a good team coming back for this, and I love the Jurassic Park movies. I would rather watch more of these Jurassic World movies than watch another Fast and Furious movie that is, again, like these are movies I can get behind. So I'm talking about the fact that, yeah, I can criticize the fact that they bring in another family in here for no particular reason, but just to be the meat, just to be the dinner. But I'm still looking forward to this Jurassic World Rebirth that comes out on July 2nd, and then we get to what I think is not only going to be the biggest movie of the summer, but this is going to be the biggest movie of the year. Like, I really am getting. First of all, it's James Gunn's Superman, and this is, of course, David Cornset playing the new Clark Kent Superman and his journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his adopted human family in Smallville, Kansas. You also have Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. You also have Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl in the movie as well. Krypto is also in here too. James Gunn, I mean, this is the guy that made the Guardians of the Galaxy as popular as it is. This is his first attempt to help to reboot the DC universe, and he's been killing it with the marketing campaign for this. Like, it's so good that I really am getting the feeling that we're going to see. I'm getting Batman 89 vibes with this movie. I think this is not only going to be the big hit of the summer, but this is going to be the big hit of the year. I mean, I was at a Steel City Con last week, and there were a lot of people in Superman 2025 getup. There was people wearing the new Superman logo. There was a lot of merchandise with Krypto on the front of it, like, and the Superman logo. So the demand is there for a new Superman movie, and James Gunn, I think is going to hit it out of the park with this one. I think this is going to do incredible business at the box office. I think this is going to be a massive hit. It'll be the biggest hit of the year. I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm getting Batman 89 vibes with this movie. I feel like we're going to have that type of success with this movie in general, if it lives up to the hype, which it should. Everybody involved in here is fully capable of making a good movie off of this, and hopefully Warner Brothers will let James Gunn do whatever he wants to do to make sure we get the right movie out of this, and hopefully this pays off big time, and it looks like it's going to. Like, I will not be surprised at all if Superman is the big hit of the year when the year is over and done with. So after that, what movie's going to come out to try to compete with this the following week? Smurfs. Smurfs in general. Smurfs, the new, I guess now it's a live-action animated reboot of the series, even though, like, the other movies were live-action animated movies, and none of them were really that great. Even the solely animated one was not that good. But in this one, when Papa Smurf is mysteriously taken by evil wizards Razamel and Gargamel, Smurfette leads the Smurfs on a mission into the real world to save him. With the help of new friends, the Smurfs discover what defines their destiny to save the universe. And the cast notably includes Rihanna as the voice of Smurfette, along with John Goodman as Papa Smurf. You have Nick Offerman, Natasha Lyonne, James Corden, Sandra Oh, J.P. Carlick, Amy Sedaris, Nick Kroll, Octavia Spencer, Hannah Waddingham, Alex Winter, Billy Lord, Kurt Russell, Maya Erskine. So there is a decent cast involved in here. The writer of this is the writer of South Park, Pam Brady, who did South Park and also Hamlet 2, and Chris Miller's the director of this, who did Shrek the Third and also Puss in Boots. So there are good people involved in this movie. The trailers, I think, are pushing a lot of people off in general, but this could be one of those things where the marketing could be so bad, but the movie could end up being really good. That's at least the hope I'm going with this movie, because nothing can top how bad the Raja Gosnell Smurfs movies were. I mean, Smurfs: The Lost Village came close to doing it, to fixing the problems, but it just didn't work in the end. And so hopefully, I'm hoping that this one is going to be the one that turns it around. I hope the marketing is not going to ruin the film's ebb and flow overall, but I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how this one turns out overall. I mean, the trailers look bad, yeah, but I mean, this doesn't. I mean, I'm giving it more of a chance than I think most people are giving it credit for. And I think it might be actually turn out to be not as bad as people make it out to be. Which is more than I could say about I Know What You Did Last Summer, because, hey, Scream worked as a remake series. Let's go ahead and remake this ripoff of Scream. I mean, they literally made this movie because of how Scream's success has been at the box office. And so let's do a direct sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, where, you know, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are back, and really, what more can they do with this movie that they hadn't done already? And it's not like they have good people behind this. I mean, the director of this is Jennifer Katnin Robinson, which, okay, she did Thor: Love and Thunder, which I didn't hate as much as everybody else did. She also did Do Revenge. So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't feel like we need another one of these movies because it's going to be the same thing that we've seen done before over and over again. Nothing new, I think, is going to come from this whatsoever. And I don't think the audience is really in demand for a new I Know What You Did Last Summer after what is. This isn't like it's not the Scream movies. I'm just going to say that. But then next week, we get back to some good superhero buzzworthy movies with the Fantastic Four First Steps. Will Marvel finally do what so many other studios have failed to do with the first family from Marvel? You have a movie that's a period piece film set in the 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic parallel Earth, where the Fantastic Four must protect their world from planet-devouring cosmic being Galactus and his herald, the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer being played in this one by Julie Gardner, and Galactus played by Ralph Ineson. The Fantastic Four themselves are Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Baccarat, who have already been set up to make an appearance next summer in Avengers Doomsday. And we'll also get to see our first look at Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom in the post-credit scene for this. So they got Matt Shankman to direct this movie, who did WandaVision. They have a lot of people involved in this project, and put the trust in Marvel on this one, because, like I said, this is the one where they have to get the Fantastic Four right. They've had so many movies where they failed to make the Fantastic Four the success that they have been, and this is pretty much their last chance. This is like the equivalent of the Nutcracker. Like, if Disney can't get the Fantastic Four right, then maybe it's probably just best to not do these movies anymore. But hopefully they'll get it right. They've got a good cast in this. John Malkovich is also in here, as well as Paul Walter Hauser and Natasha Lyonne. So, again, I'm putting my faith in Marvel on this one. I think we're more putting our faith in Marvel for this one. And then finally, in July, we have a comedy sequel nobody was asking for, but they're doing it anyway, Happy Gilmore 2. Of course, it's the sequel to the original Happy Gilmore, which came out nearly 30 years ago. It's being released exclusively on Netflix, features a lot of the same people from the first movie back, and I don't know. I really don't see the need to do another Happy Gilmore movie nowadays. Just like, I mean, it's my thing with comedy sequels, man. They very rarely turn out to be any good. I mean, you get a good one here and there, but it's more missed than hit when it comes to comedy sequels many years after the original film. So, I don't know. I don't think this is going to turn out to be any good. I feel like that this film probably is not going to do very well in general, at least in my opinion, but that's just my personal take on it. So that's the month of July. So let's go ahead and see how the summer wraps up with August. And August is getting off to a very strong start with two movies I'm actually very much looking forward to, including the sequel to The Bad Guys 2, which of course is the sequel to the 2022 DreamWorks animated movie. And trailer came out for it a long time ago, but I honestly can not tell you much about it. But I mean, I saw the short film that they had in front of Dogman. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys once again. So 5 years after one of their first hives, the bad guys are struggling to find trust and acceptance in their newly minted lives as good guys when they're pulled out of retirement and forced to do one last job as by an all-female squad of criminals called the Bad Girls, who are fans of their earlier exploits, played by Danielle Brooks, Maria Bakalova, and Natasha Lyonne again. 3 movies in the next 3 weeks between July 18th and August 1st with her in it, so I'm glad to see that. I really like Natasha Lyonne. But of course, you got the same people back from the first movie, and I mean, like I said, I like the first movie a lot, so really I'm excited to see what they do with this, especially with these guys back again. But then the movie I'm probably most curious about is The Naked Gun, which we finally got a trailer for it last week at CinemaCon, and it was freaking hilarious. Like, the movie, this is my favorite comedy of all time, the Leslie Nielsen film. So yeah, I'm going into this with a lot of trepidations, but if that first trailer is any indication, they've knocked it out of the park. I think Liam Neeson's going to make a great Frank Drebin. I think they're going to do a very good job of keeping the comedy spirit of the original film. It's not going to be like a Friedberg-Stelzer movie, at least from what I've seen. Like, can you bring back the Abrams-Zucker magic again? That's the big thing with this movie. Can you really bring it back with Seth MacFarlane as the producer and the guys behind The Lonely Island working on the film? Which, these guys have worked on some good stuff in general. I mean, the last thing this guy directed, Akiva Schaffer, was Chippendale Rescue Rangers, which I thought was an excellent, excellent movie. So, I'm very excited for this one, but I'm extremely cautious about this one because you're messing with one of my favorite movies of all time here. And then I see Angel Studios is not only making faith-based movies, but they're making other attempts to try to break into other genres. There's a comedy horror movie coming out called Sketch, which feels very interesting, where you've got Tony Hale starring as a widowed father of two who is struggling to help his children come to terms with the death of their mother. However, one day the sketchbook in which Amber has been drawing visual representations of her grief accidentally gets dropped in a magical pool, resulting in the neighborhood becoming terrorized by strange monsters made of crayon wax and chalk dust. Which sounds absolutely insane, but, you know, this is an A24 movie. It's not even A24, it's Angel Studios. It's a faith-based studio, and I'm just kind of like, this is very interesting coming from them. So, yeah, I'm very, very optimistic to see how this one turns out. And apparently it's got some pretty good reviews coming out early on here. They showed this at the Toronto International Film Festival last year. And got a good review overall. So I'm very cautious about this movie. I'm really excited to see what they do with this one. And then August 8th, we have yet another comedy sequel that I think is completely unnecessary, Freakier Friday, which brings back Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan back in their roles from the 2003 film. And the trailer for it just looked pretty bad in general. Like, I get it. People want to see these two get back together again in the movie. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is an Oscar winner. I'm glad to see Lindsay Lohan back in the spotlight again, but I want to see him in better movies besides just retreading from the previous movie. Like, this feels like nothing but a retread of the previous movie that makes the Disney Channel movie that they did, not but a few years ago, look better by comparison. But I think the movie that I'm most excited about, as most people probably are, is Weapons, which is Zach Cregger's follow-up to his movie Barbarian. And it's a horror film in which you have multi-related plots marked by the disappearance of school kids in the middle of the night, police corruption, generational trauma, witchcraft, blood rituals, and religious abuse in a small Florida community. Where the cast includes Josh Brolin, Julie Garner, Eldon Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, Amy Madigan, June Diane Raphael, Austin Abrams, Toby Huss. A really strong cast in here, and a big project for Zach Cregger. He's really becoming that it guy right now. Like, this movie, the script for this reportedly was bought for like $38 million. And then you also take into the fact that he's also working on the Resident Evil movie coming out next year. His name has become a big draw just because of Barbarian, which still shocks me that movie has yet to get a physical release. Like, with the word of mouth that this guy's been getting, I can't believe Disney is holding back on the release of that movie in general. Just put the movie out there, man. Let people see it. Like, don't make us have to wait 3 months whenever you play it on FX and FXX, because that's the only way you can watch that movie. Of course, then watch it on Hulu, of course, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out. I like what he did with Barbarian. I'm really excited to see what he does with this. In the middle of August, we have the sequel to Nobody 2, which features the return of Bob Odenkirk and Connie Nielsen, as well as Christopher Lloyd, RZA, Michael Ironside. It's a sequel, of course, to the 2021 movie, which was one of the big surprise successes of a few years ago. Definitely looking forward to checking that one out, indeed. Even at a time when this is usually the final stretches of the summer and nobody's really putting out anything interesting, studios are putting out some pretty interesting stuff I'm very curious about. Probably one of the biggest of the two here is Shelby Oaks, which is the new film from Neon Pictures, the company that put out Longlegs. But more importantly, it's the feature directorial debut for Chris Stuckman. Of course, you know Chris Stuckman from YouTube. He does a lot of movie reviews, and this is his first major project. This is a film in general. It was picked up by Neon Films. And the premise of this is that in the 2000s, Riley Brennan, played by Sarah Dern, hosts a YouTube channel with her friends called the Paranormal Paranoids. The series focuses on the group of filming at various haunted locations, and during their recent shoot at an abandoned town of Shelby Oaks, Ohio, Riley's three friends were found murdered, leaving behind a tape that suggests Riley was taken and/or also killed by an unidentifiable man. Mia, played by Camille Sullivan, Riley's sister, believes she's still alive, but she searches for her for 12 years, when she finally discovers a second tape containing contents that convince Mia something sinister is involved with Riley's vanishing. And the other word of mouth on this has been very good. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, 58 out of 100 on Metacritic. It says the general consensus here looks like it's that the praise is directed mostly towards the first half, the atmosphere, and Camille Sullivan's performance. I'm glad to see this for Chris. Chris Stuckman, somebody who I've been a big fan of for so many years. I mean, he's one of my big influences of coming onto YouTube. So I'm really excited to see what he does with this movie in general. I hope this does very well. I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. It looks like it could be a really, really good movie. And then the last film here that I'm really excited about that comes out at the tail end of August 29th, is The Roses, which is the remake, of course, of the 1989 classic comedy The War of the Roses, which in and of itself was based off of a novel by Warren Adler. Of course, that film starred Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. And in this movie, you have Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch in the title roles, where you have a story that goes like this. Life seems easy for picture-perfect couples, Ivy and Theo, successful careers, a loving marriage, great kids, but behind the facade of their supposed ideal life, a storm is brewing as Theo's career nosedives while Ivy's own ambitions take off. A tinderbox of fierce competition and hidden resentment ignites. Now, The War of the Roses is one of the great dark comedies of all time, one of the great black comedies of all time, because it does not end on a happy note. It ends with a couple literally dying literally dying as they're continuing to argue. They literally get caught on a chandelier that's literally about to fall and kill them, and that's how the movie ends. Like, I hope this movie does not go the safe and easy route, like happy ending route, because that's something that's going to be really make me mad if they do that, but it is Searchlight Pictures, and Searchlight Pictures is Fox's independent studio company where they let them do whatever they want to do. And Disney has been pretty strict with them by not changing what they've had to do with it, what they do best. So I'm hoping that this is the case here. I hope they don't destroy the story, because The War of the Roses is one of the great black comedies ever made, and it would piss me off so hard if it goes down the happy ending route with this. I just hope it doesn't do that. But anyway, I'm still looking forward to it. It comes out on August 29th. Real looking forward to checking that out indeed. So there you go. That is the summer 2025 season as a whole. Not a lot of big stuff in general. Not a lot of big, huge movies I'm looking forward to. I think the biggest ones I'm looking forward to, Superman, Fantastic Four, maybe Lilo and Stitch, and then I think probably The Naked Gun, fourth overall. But doesn't seem like there's quite as much of a spark this time around in the summer movie season as there was in the last couple of years. But it does feel like we're starting to get back on track after getting stuck between, the COVID pandemic and then the writer's strike and all that. It feels like we're getting back to a normal releasing strategy again, and hopefully this is the sign that things are getting back to normal. One would hope, but we'll definitely see. But that's the summer movie season for 2025, and I've been looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. It could be very, very interesting on a number of different levels. So with all that said, let's get to some recommendations, and let's get the heck on out of here. And we do have a big new release this weekend, and that is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is one I'm definitely looking forward to getting my hands on sooner rather than later, and hopefully that will happen within the next couple of days, because I did pre-order both of the steelbooks for this movie, which one features Sonic and the other one features Shadow, which, of course, is played by Keanu Reeves. Easily the best of the Sonic movies in general, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out. We also have Hard Eyes, which I actually heard was not as bad as it led on, but I'm not really interested in seeing that one. Star Trek Lower Decks, the complete series, comes out on Blu-ray as well. We have a lot of catalog titles. There's a nice looking steelbook sets coming out for Basic Instinct and King of New York. Baby It's You, which is a criminally underrated movie from 1983, directed by John Sayles. That's coming out on Blu-ray for the first time. It's one I'm kind of curious to check out and see if I can find it somewhere at a good price. But you also have The Good German, which is a very underrated Steven Soderbergh movie. Another really underrated Steven Soderbergh movie, The Informant, getting a 4K release for the first time. And then there's also Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League, which could be good. But the big one for me is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I'm looking forward to getting that in my collection sooner rather than later. So definitely excited to check that one out at home for the first time in a couple months. But anyway, with all that said, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Reviewing Network Live. And thank you guys so much for joining me on this. This was a really good show this week, despite the lack of some big news stories in general. But it's one that was a pretty decent week overall. Pretty decent week of stuff to talk about. But hopefully next week we'll actually get some more bigger news stories to talk about. I'll say this: there were a couple of news stories I could have brought up, but nothing to really make for a full show in general. So at the very least, I'll save those for next week. Hopefully we'll get more news stories after that. But other than that, though, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And we post here every Sunday night. And if you enjoy this and want to see more videos like it, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button, and check out the last episode I did last week after Steel City Con, covering all the stuff from CinemaCon. And with that said, that's going to wrap this puppy up. So thank you so much for watching and enjoying this. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, hit the like button and get more of these videos. So I'll see you guys back here next Sunday. Of course, we have other videos during the course of the week, including clipless versions of Time About the Movies, as well as trailer reactions, and among other things. So be on the lookout for those. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, we are out.